Hello, very good evening to all of you. I welcome you all to today's session with Mr. Gajendra Kothari on how to address your business needs and how to handle your business in such a volatile environment. On behalf of CFA Society, I welcome you all to today's webinar session. My name is Kishor Bagri and I'm a volunteer with the CFA Society in the capacity of one of the directors on the board. So the way the whole webinar will be structured is we'll have about an hour of a webinar session. Gajendra will put forth his views along with the presentation that has been shared on the chat on which he will be speaking on for about, let's say, 35 to 40 minutes. Then we will have a dedicated 20 to 25 minutes left with us for Q&A session. The Q&A can be posted through the Q&A icon on the bottom panel of the Zoom chat window. Some of the housekeeping rules that I would like to put forth is if everyone can, though I think everyone is on the mute mode, but still if you can put your phones and all those things in the silent mode, including all the panelists also who are there on the call. Post the session, the feedback from all the participants is very important and valuable. So please take time out for taking the survey. The link is shared in the confirmation mail that has been mailed across to all the participants for this session. Now, though Gajendra does not need any introduction per se, he has been quite a known figure in the investment industry and the wealth management fraternity. But just for the modalities, I would just take you through a brief formal introduction of Gajendra. So Gajendra, as we all know, is the MD and the CEO of Etica Wealth Management Private Limited. He has more than 16 years of experience encompassing both India and overseas capital markets. He is leading the wealth management since 2011 in Etica Wealth. His typical day at work involves overseeing the strategy of the firm, meeting the firm's senior clients, and managing their personal finances. Prior to Etica, he was Vice President and Head Product for the Portfolio Management Division at UTI Mutual Fund. He was also Business Development Head for the UK and European markets for UTI International Ltd in London for a span of 3 years. So that goes the formal introduction of Gajendra. With that, I would like to invite Gajendra to start his presentation. Over to you, Gajendra.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kisorji. Good evening, friends. It's awesome to be doing this session amongst you. I would really like to thank CFA Society India for giving me this opportunity to present my thoughts, on business development in the context of wealth management profession. And I would sincerely like to thank Kishorji also for being the moderator of this session. I'm sure you, the next 1 hour we'll be able to take some wonderful lessons, in the area of wealth management back home. Okay, so while most of other businesses are in a holiday mood right now because everything is shut down, I think for us professionals, in fact, we have become double busy right now. Our wives may think that we are also having kind of our holidays, but I honestly can tell you that I've become far more busier than prior to the lockdown. So it's a new thing, but I think we are also kind of learning day by day. So before we start about business development as such, I would like to talk about the wealth management profession part of it, because that's very important. The context is very important. That are you passionate about this business? Okay, as a career choice, or are you getting into this because of COVID-19 right now? That's the most recent example I can think of, because as I speak to you, even today, I got a call that one of my clients' daughter has been asked to take 50% pay cut for the next 6 months. So imagine if most of the folks are seeing pay cuts, no bonuses, job losses, then is this a forced career profession you're looking into, or simply because you're passionate about it, right? And there's a world of difference between the two, because in the second case, you are being forced into it. You may not enjoy doing it, and just because you want to make money, you want to get into it. I would like to give you a small background about myself. As Kishorji mentioned, I was with UTI working in UK for the international operations. And, I decided to kind of come back to India and start this wealth management thing. When I spoke about this to my family and my friends and my colleagues, they thought I'm really crazy because I was getting very good salary there. The life was wonderful. I was having the best of times. Yet I want to come back to India and start something on my own, a very unknown thing. And you could remember this was 2009, when we just came out of this global financial crisis, and there was a lot of happenings in the wealth management industry in India. But I was very much passionate about it, and I knew that my ultimate calling lies here, because I saw there was a big gap in this industry. As far as the last mile connectivity was required, there were very few serious, good, honest advisors in our country. Most of them were salesmen, so to say, selling some or other products to the clients. So it was a choice. It was a very distinctive choice which I made. And 10 years today, we are celebrating 10 years of Etica Wealth Management now, 2009 to 19. And I can tell you that this was the best ever decision which I took in my life. That, and that is because I was in the first camp. Are you passionate about it? So that was the choice. So if you also in my camp, then the next question then you have to ask is, who's your rainmaker? So many of you who don't know what rainmaker means, basically a rainmaker is a person who generates income for a business or organization by brokering deals or attracting clients or funds. So, in your organization, if you are a single person organization, you are the rainmaker, you are the whole and soul who are getting clients, and so stuff like that. I'm getting this message that you're not able to get the presentation. Is everybody able to see the presentation? Kishorji, is everybody able to see the presentation?
I'm not able to see. I don't know whether the presentation is visible.
Okay, so they are saying that it is not. So let me just try to kind of again put on the screen. 1 second. Just give me a moment. Okay. Is it visible now?
I think it is visible now.
Okay, perfect. So who's your rainmaker? So this was my first slide. Are you passionate about it, or are you getting into it because of COVID-19, or any other example you can think of? Like, you're not happy with your boss, you're not happy with your company, and out of frustration you want to get into wealth management. So if that is the choice, then I really can't help you much with that, because that won't take you much far. But if you're in the first camp, I think today's session you can find some takeaways from this session. Okay, so as I said, who's your rainmaker? So as I said, in all organizations, there has to be a person who would generate income for a business or organization by getting clients, attracting clients or funds. So if you are an entrepreneur, then that person has to be the you. But how do you go about doing it? Okay, that's the billion-dollar question. Okay, and that is what we'll discuss. So what are the traditional ways of business development? The traditional ways has been tapping your natural market. So when you're starting young, when you're starting new business, your friends, family circle, known acquaintances, colleagues, but I would really suggest that in this business, don't go for this, because believe me, they're the most difficult people to crack. Before starting, they will tell you that when you start, they will come to you. But once you start, you'll find that only hardly 20% of the people come and support you. So really don't fall for that thing. That may not work. And so in fact, I always tell people that, if you give me an unknown person, I can crack that person in 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. But you give me a friend and I won't be able to crack him for lifetime. That's how it works. I don't know whatever is the reason, you lose business and you lose relationship also. So don't really go after that, though it may sound very logical, but somehow it doesn't work in our business. So then the other most effective way, if you have been somewhat into this business for quite some time, is the referrals from your satisfied clients. This is where world's most advisors fall back on. That, I'll ask reference for my clients, and I'll grow my business. And this is where one entity has a very big advantage compared to all of us, which is the banks. They have very natural lead generation sources. They already have huge customer base. The trust is already established. They have wide variety of products, and there is a touch feel out there. Okay, it is not like fly by night kind of thing. So they have somewhat competitive advantage, which many of us may not have. A few larger wealth management offices have full-time business development departments, and their job is to basically get new clients and give it to pass it on to the investment counselors or financial advisors, thereon. And hence they have deep pockets to do various sponsored activities like, organizing seminars, client get-togethers, lunches, dinners, movies, outing, etc., etc. And of course, the very old format of cold calling also has been there in our country. I'm sure every day you must be receiving calls from Indore-based stockbrokers, wanting to make you rich overnight. And somehow that's working. That's why you're getting so many calls. So that's been the traditional ways. So does this mean that business development in wealth management also means sales, and you are also supposed to be a used car salesman? And somehow, in this profession, most advisors technically shy away from the word sales. They think sales is a dirty word in this industry. Okay, and to most people, it has negative connotations because the moment you talk about sales, it's talking about pushing the stuff down the client's throat. And in the past, unfortunately, the all kind of scandals which you saw, mis-selling in India. And as I told you, one of the reasons why I wanted to get into this profession was that because from 2004 to 2009, 10, the kind of mis-selling I was seeing was like unbelievable. As far as mutual funds were considered, the NFOs were a big sell there. Every time you sell, you earn 2.5% upfront commissions, and they would churn the portfolio every 6 months, 9 months when new NFO comes, and advisors pocket a lot of money, or rather distributors, I would say. ULIPs sales were all-time high, pocketing 40%, 50% revenues. And that is why this has become quite negative and has raised a lot of barriers to convert prospects to clients. So then the big question, multi-million question is then how to increase sales without being salesy, sounding salesy. That's quite very important. And that is where I think, you have to go back to the basics, friends. If you start studying CFA, what is the first thing you study in CFA, right? It's not the technical stuff. It's basically the basics. The foundation of the CFA curriculum is all about ethics. And I think in this profession, ethics is actually the biggest lever, okay? And it's just that we don't realize this when we start our career, when we are starting this. But after 10, 15 years, when you look back into it, the guys who have been the most successful have been the most ethical. For them, the whole idea and focus is to build trust. Because once the trust is built to the customer, look, this profession is also like doctor, once the patient is liking a doctor, then for lifetime, he would like to go back to the same doctor. And that's why we have a concept of like family doctors. For whatever problems, he's the first point of call. So the moment you build trust, then imagine for the rest of the life, whatever client is earning money, it is only going to come back to you. You don't have to really go after that. But even if there is a 5% mistrust, okay, believe me, you will have a very tough time. Okay, so remember that, and that is why ethics is very important. And it takes time for you to build trust. It can never be made overnight. Though we have completed 10 years, we saw that, after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years only, client would completely open up. They would give their complete wallet share to you. But that is how your business will be built, and that is the only way. There is no other way. In fact, I can tell you for sure. As Parag Parikh, the late Parag Parikh, founder of Parag Parikh Financial Services, once said, "There's only one right way. There's no other way around." Okay. Uh, so ethics helps you also shorten the sales cycle, because again, once a trust is established, you don't have to really convince the clients too much. It improves prospect conversion, because you're not sounding pushy, you're not sounding salesy, if I can say. And if you're into fee-based thing, it eases pressure, because as I told you, clients beyond a point of time don't look at remuneration or fees. The most important thing for them is the quality of advice and the trust. And because you have been able to convert far faster, far better, it saves a lot of time and expenses for you on the business development. You don't have to go back to the clients many times, and you can actually close it in one meeting or two meetings. So that is very important, friends, but it will take 5-7 years to build that. Don't expect to happen it overnight. Nick Murray, I don't know how many of you know this person. He is a US based advisor. He's one of the oldest advisors in the US, has more than 50 years of experience. Now he's kind of retired. He's 80 years of age now. He just writes books and columns. I'm a big fan of him, and whatever he says resembles quite to what I think also. So he has mentioned in his book called Excellent Financial Advisor, and I would really recommend all of you to read this book, which said what was the past and what the future looks like. And he says the past was all about commissions. You do every trade and you would earn commissions out of it. The future is all about earning fees. Okay. In the past, you were getting commissions. In the future, guys, you'll have to earn fees. Okay. That is very important. Second, the past was all about transactions. As I told you, if I connect to the broking industry in India, the more you do buy and sell, the brokers would make money. The more financial advisors sell products, help and buy, sell mutual funds. Earlier, they would earn entry sales loads, entry load kind of stuff, upfront commissions. From transactions, it has now moved to relationships. Okay, the future is all about relationships. How strong connect you have with your clients. Earlier, it was all about markets, how well you know about markets, and that is why you have to be on the screen every moment. You have to know all the figures, what FIs are doing and DIs are doing and stuff like that. You have to track 40 variables. But believe me, guys, that doesn't really make sense at all. It is only about your clients' lives, their goals, their families' dreams is what matters to a true advisor. Okay. Earlier, you could win clients based on your knowledge. If you are from Ivy League institutions, okay, or maybe a CFA degree and stuff like that, that would get you foot into the door. But believe me, guys, the future is all about trust. It's not about knowledge. You may have less knowledge, you may have less kind of information, but if you have clients' trust, that's the most thing which will count. Again, in the past, it was all about velocity of assets, how quickly you can get in and out, how quickly you can gather AUM, gather assets. Okay, it was all about that. But the future is about longevity of assets, how long you can keep those assets for. Okay, and that is where this game becomes quite different. This becomes power of compounding. Okay, and power of compounding is the main reason why I chose this profession. And I'll take a few minutes later about this concept into our profession. And in the past, it was all about telephone because you have to just buy and sell things. So you could just call up your client and do it. But now it is more about face-to-face, because a lot of client communications, trust gets passed on through your body language, through your confidence, how you sound. Okay. So, friends, I would like to ask you this very important question. Many of you are into jobs in wealth management space. Okay. You're not entrepreneurs. So are you in the hunting business, or do you believe in the law of farm? And you have to be very clear with that. Okay. So if you're in the hunting business, then the past would attract to you. All those things which I talk about, commissions, transactions, markets, perhaps this might help you in the shorter term. And hunting business is basically you hunt clients every day. Okay. And the typical example I normally give is the broking industry, where they care only about their revenues. Most, let's say, brokers, okay, their main objective is to make sure that you buy and sell as frequently as possible so that they can earn their brokerages, which means they have to hunt clients every day. Clients would come, they would do trades, and at the end of the day, they would lose money. They would go. Next day, new clients come, and every day this process repeats itself. So that's what you'll have to do. But if you believe in the law of farm, then you're a farmer. You have to sow the seeds today, and you'll have to wait for it to convert into the final goods. You'll have to give time. You'll have to water it. You have to protect it from many externalities, and you have to have patience, and then only you will see the end results. Okay. So this is very important distinctive. Again, this Parag Parikh's main focus was always on the law of farm. And I also believe this business is all about law of farm rather than, hunting every day. Okay. So 12 tips for developing your business. If you also believe in the law of farm, then I think these tips will come handy to you. Then be a problem solver and not a salesman. Friends, you may be an excellent salesperson, right? Now, this may help you in other industries. You may think that you may be able to sell any product in the world. May hold true for other things, but in this profession, in the long term, this doesn't work. Client can see through you. So you have to be a problem solver. You have to find solutions for your clients. So whenever I go to a client meeting, I just go completely empty mind, in the sense, because I don't have any products to sell. Okay. And normally if a banker comes or a large national distributor comes, he already has a product in mind. Okay. Whether that product fits you or not doesn't really matter. He just think that he has to sell this. Okay. So he's a salesman. He's not a problem solver. So when I go to the client, I just kind of listen, for 1-2 hours, understand his requirements, understand his profile, and then maybe give him few solutions, few suggestions, and ask him to choose what he feels also right. And, we jointly could figure out what's good for the client. And again, in our profession, sometimes we believe that, if we educate our clients, then why would our clients come to us? Let's make it very complicated. And somehow that is why complex product sells in our industry. So I'm strictly against this. I believe in complete education of the client. I tell my clients that, unless you understand this, don't invest. Okay. We can wait for a month. We can wait for a year. Only when you have understood, you have all the questions answered, then only you can start. Okay. And also I have another rule. I tell my clients, ask me 50 questions now. Okay. Before buying the product. Don't ask me once you've bought the product, because there's no point asking the question once you've bought it. Right. So you have to give that space to the client, educate him as much as possible. And this is an advantage of it. If you educate your client, then believe me, he becomes your brand ambassador. Okay. And that brings on to my third point, which is have your client sell for you. I'll give you a classic example. In our financial planning, the first thing we introduce to a client is a liquid fund, and most of our investors may not have heard about liquid funds. So when we make them understand about liquid funds, we tell them all the pros and cons and everything, and ask them to transact with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 rupees, see it how it works, do experimentation. And then when they're confident, they can invest 10, 20, 30, 40 lakhs, whatever they want to. But believe me, once they understand the product, then they go and tell 20 other people that this is a wonderful product. Why don't you use it? So your clients have now become brand ambassadors. They are selling it for you. They are getting you new clients. And wow, you don't have to have a sales team. You don't have to get into business development. Your clients are your business developer, developing for you. So that's very interesting. And that will only happen, friends, if you educate your clients. Okay. Fourth is take a team approach, which means, look, you may not be the best thing for a client. You may not have all the solutions for a client. Client tomorrow may want some insurance, help. You may be an investment advisor. You may not have expertise in insurance. Tie up with some, a good firm where they have kind of expertise in insurance. Somebody may have expertise in unlisted shares, which you may not have. Somebody may be expert in direct shares, direct equities, which again you may not have. Somebody may be a good lawyer, attorney, tax consultant. So when you take a team approach, then you become a one-stop place for the client, and client sees you as a comprehensive, outfit rather than a one person who's just trying to sell one particular stuff. And always remember, friends, you can't be all things to all people. Not all people you meet will become your clients. Not all prospects will become your clients. You have to be very selective. I can understand that in the initial days when you're starting out, you can't be very choosy because you are in need of more clients. But still, I would say that one wrong client, one bad client can really, can cause a lot of trouble for you later on. So you have to be selective. Okay. There are clients who may ask you, can you give me 20% return and I'll give you 5 crores. Okay. So just to get that 5 crores business, if you fall for this, I think you'll have tough time later. So straight thing is that to walk away from that conversation and say, look, I don't have that kind of expertise. And, so stick to what you believe in. And that is where in the long term it will help you. Develop and further relationships. So don't sell, again, as I said. So one thing I've always practiced is I've never sold. I tell my clients that you will never expect a call from me. You will have to call me whenever you have any problem. Okay. Which means our relationship is like patient and doctor. You are a patient. Every time you have a problem, you call me and I'll try to give you a solution. But I will not sell you anything, So I believe in building relationships. That is why sometimes it takes 4 or 5 meetings before the client gives you out first check. And I've never asked in the first 5 meetings that, why you're not investing, why you're not investing. I just wait until the client is confident. So the whole idea is to build relationship. And always remember, friends, in the start, client may only give you 5 lakh, 10 lakh, a very small portion of his entire corpus. But once you have got that full confidence, from 5 lakh to 5 CR, it can go in next meeting only. Point number 7, again, is very important. We believe in taking a comprehensive approach. So before even he's willing to cut out the first check, we ask him, have you done your complete inventory? I somehow don't believe in just pure wealth management part, wherein, you go and you get a check and you invest in some assets. I believe in a comprehensive approach where 80% of our clients are financial planning clients. We make a full-fledged financial plan for them, which is a goal-based financial plan. All these goals are like their retirement plans, their children's education plan, house purchase, vacations, all these plans. And based on their risk profile and asset allocation, we then recommend what is right for them. So it's a comprehensive approach, and the beauty of this is that you become the master financial planner for the client. Client may still do business with other people as well, but he may not share everything else with them, but he shares everything with you. So you have entire 360-degree view of client's finances, and then you can take a right call whether this particular thing makes sense for him or not, and stuff like that. Be well known. That again helps improve your credibility. Okay, before you reach your client, your reputation should reach him or her. That's very important because today almost all clients are very tech savvy. Before meeting you, they will just Google your name, and if you are all over the net in various capacities or other, your reputation precedes that. And as I said, perception is bigger than reality in our profession, and clients will. So you can assume that 50%, clients would have already been convinced before they're meeting you, and rest when you meet them, the 50% also block gets filled. So be well known. How can you do that? I think one good thing is like, I've seen many people, like in our industry, BD, CFA society, you would know Bihari Lal Devra, and because my topic is business development and BD is also there. So again, he's very well known, right? I saw his LinkedIn profile. He has last count was some 10,000 people he's connected to. Everybody in India knows him, and he has been doing a lot of voluntary work, so that in a way help you in some way or other, right? Not everything is about money, but if you're well known, you will get rewarded in some way or other. So be well known in your community, be well known in your circle, in your industry, okay? And it will always help you. Ninth point is that, as I said, you can't have everybody as a client. So you have to understand your segment, okay? So, and there are many segments in our profession you can go for. You can go only for doctors community, okay? You can specialize only for business people. And why I'm saying have specialization, because each segment has different requirements. You can go only for professionals. We have a couple of advisors in our profession who are only catering to defense personnel. We have one very big advisor in Delhi who is managing today maybe 800 crores of assets under management, and 80-90% of the people are from armed forces. Okay, so imagine the word of mouth he would have, and he doesn't take people from any other background. He will only take clients from defense personnel. So imagine the word of mouth he will have in that fraternity. The other good thing in the initial years, I can suggest you is referral networks. So many of you may be knowing chartered accountants, lawyers, or other professionals who already have a set of clients, but they're not catering to them, because they don't have expertise on this profession. Why don't you tie up with them? Okay. And so you can give them business, they can give business to you. It can be on a referral basis and stuff like that. This is a good way to develop your business in the early phases of life, first 5 years, I would say, when you don't have enough clients. The other thing is many of our folks in the industry are part of BNI networks. BNI is nothing but referral network. Okay, it's very popular across the world. A lot of people are there. You can become a local chapter, in the area of wealth management. You can participate there. You can become a member of CII. CII has something called Young Indians, where before 40, you can become a member, and there are a lot of activities they do for CII young people, and you can connect to them. There's India Business Group, where they organize a lot of events, networking events every now and then. And then you can either become members of Rotary Club, Lions Club. And, over a period of time, when people start noticing you, people start knowing you, it helps. As I said, again, be well known in these circles, and then business will automatically come. The other way, if you are good in writing, you can start write for, for newspapers, magazines, blogs. And again, if your name comes in newspapers and magazines, that has a lot of trust. When client sees your photo in a TV or newspaper, it gives a lot of credibility. So some of these, I'm sure it will really help you. Now, today the world is all about social media. It's much easier way. You don't have to be expensive, to get clients. You can get clients through many of these mediums, and most of these are free of cost as well. But they are not easy. All I'm going to tell you is that they're not easy. And I like to give you some examples. He's again a good friend of mine, Anand Doctor. He's a wealth manager and fee-based financial planner. He chose a very different medium. He went into Quora, and he started answering questions on all areas of personal finance and wealth management. And look at this thing. He has answered till date around almost 1,000 answers, right? And that requires a lot of patience. There are sometimes very foolish questions, very basic questions. Again, every time you have to repeat. But he has done that for 3, 4, 5 years, and I'm sure he would have got a lot of good references out of this. And there are 910 followers he has created now. Okay, and you can see all the areas wherein he has answered: investing, mutual funds, finance, investment advice, personal finance, and the content views. Look at the content views. It's 1.5 million content views. He has already got it, which is fabulous. Okay, so this is one way of reaching out to people. This is my favorite example. Most of you guys who are on Twitter, I'm sure you cannot miss him. He is a very shy person, Mr. Muthu, based out of Chennai. I had the pleasure of meeting him twice. And, once he was below the poverty line, actually. He lived that kind of life. And today he's managing more than 300 crores of clients' money with just one other person in his office. He hardly meets clients. He's only available on Twitter. Okay. He's the Twitter guru, I can say. Earlier, he used to write blogs, but now he's writing very less frequently on that. But he's only on Twitter. Every day you could see 10, 20, 30 tweets of his, all talking about long-term investments, simplicity, and stuff like that. Okay, and look at the followers he has. 139,000 followers he has, and again that's compounding. 2 years back he wouldn't have even 10,000, also not even 5,000. But in the last 2 years, see the number which has gone up. And look at the tweets he has done: 26,000, 27,000 tweets so far. So he's a Twitter machine, I can tell you, literally. Okay, so that's how a lot of clients come. And one unique thing about him, he doesn't accept new investments. He doesn't accept fresh clients, because he says, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I don't need more clients. I'm not really worrying about more business. but that's it. There's another medium, which is the television medium. If you're in metro cities like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, all these channels are out there, and they would like to have good advisors who can speak on the public platform. So this person, Pankaj Matpal, you would have seen him on many occasions, right at Z Business, ET Now, CNBC. He's there all over. And again, imagine when your clients see you on television, their confidence on you goes up 10x. Okay. So this is again one medium which you can do it. The other medium, of course, is YouTube, which has become very prevalent today. This guy, left-hand side in the blue shirt, is Surya Bhatia, one of the most renowned advisors based out of Delhi. He has partnered with Mitali Mukherjee. This is a very familiar face to all of us. She was former CNBC anchor. So she and Vivek Law, again, a very formidable kind of anchor and an expert on personal finance. They all three teamed up and they started something called Money Mile, which is a video-based platform. They do a lot of video shows, Q&As, and they put it on YouTube. So that's another medium they have chosen to do business development. The other medium which many advisors are now taking these days is writing books. So these are some famous, I'm sure, authors you would have heard. Gaurav Mashruwala, written on Yogic Wealth. There's this guy, Hemant Beniwal, out of Jaipur. He's written on modifying investor behavior. Somebody's writing on children's education. Somebody's writing on retirement. And, plenty of opportunities. If you're good at writing, pick up a pen, write a good book, and that gives you a lot of opportunities. Go and talk about your book. And, as an author, you will always be well respected, right? So before advisor, you're treated like an author, and that's very good thing. This was, again, very unique case. Again, I know these two wonderful people. One is based out of Pune, another is based out of Jaipur. They started something called Jago Investor. Manish Chauhan started 10 years, 12 years back. And he was doing wonderful thing in the sense, he was just picking a topic and writing a good blog on that. And over a period of time, he has created huge data bank out of this. So if you today search on anything on Google, and his query, his answers would come as one of the Google views, pages. So the latest article which is written was on the 3 months EMI moratorium benefit, when Nirmala Sitharaman announced that, banks can go for this because of COVID-19. He has written a detailed article on this. And imagine if people searching on this thing, his name would appear right on the top. And that's a good way to create brand loyalty. And based on this, they have created a wonderful business model, and they sound very authentic because they're not here to push anything. They just write plain, simple stuff. Okay. If you think that cold calling doesn't work in our business, think again. Again, a good friend of mine has built almost a 800 crores business only over telephonic conversations. He doesn't go out and meet clients. He's based out of Malad, Mumbai, has a team of 30, 40 people only doing telephonic calls. Okay. They reach out, they do cold calling, and they convert everything over phone. Nobody visits people, but I'm sure they're doing something great. And that is why today they built a formidable business. Okay. So even there is a business model out of this, you have to believe in it. And there is this another wonderful example of a postcard marketing. Again, a veteran in our industry, Mr. Sanjay Khatri, today, he must be around 1,000 crores. This is, again, 2-year-old figures. And he deals completely with retail. And in this age of YouTube and social media, he believes in going back to basics. He sends all his client communications through postcard, and all the postcards are handwritten. They're not typed. Okay. They're all handwritten every month. And he sends some around 15,000, 20,000 postcards every month. He's based out of Vashi, and every housing society in Vashi would receive this postcard. So almost entire area of Vashi is his client. And look at the business model which he has built. A very formidable business model, very difficult to break into. But this is the niche. So you have looked in this that, there are many ways in which you can build your business model. And finally, I would like to tell you what we are doing. What is our core competence? What is our strength? Our business model has been always based on IAPs, investor awareness programs, or the investor awareness initiatives. We believe we are good in conducting, one-to-many sessions, in the sense, 20 people, 30 people, 100 people, do a seminar, okay, open Q&A. And in the last 10 years, we have done more than 300 such seminars across India. And we have covered 15,000 people, more than 15,000 people, in fact. We've done for business schools, colleges, companies, BPOs, senior executives, Rotary clubs, media journalists, SEBI, BSc. I mean, you name it, and we've done for every one of them. I think this is for us is a great way to connect to people. One to many people can. If somebody is attending your seminar, is there for 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours. Our seminars have gone for 5, 6 hours also. Okay, if they're listening to you non-stop for 5, 6 hours without looking at the mobile phones, and after the seminars they come and tell you like, look, we want to be associated with you, we want to become your client. I think he's already your client. So that's very interesting. These are the seminars we have done. This was for Hyderabad Maheshwari Sabha members, 400 people, which we did in last September. 400 business people actually. This was for Indian Army at Indian Army headquarters in New Delhi. Again, 500 people. You can see full auditorium out there. These are all defense personnel. And the one feedback which we received was that wish we had this seminar 10 years ago. That was the one common feedback which I received from this program. 2 years back, we did this program for GITO members. GITO is basically Jain International Trade Organization. So these are 400 again business community members, and it was a Sunday 4 hours program for them. It was in Bangalore. Recently, we did in Mumbai. We were invited by one of our CFA community members, Mr. Litesh Gada. He's a CFA society volunteer, and he invited for his community members to do this program. It was on Sunday. Again, you can see full house, 400 people attending this program for 4 hours. And friends, there are no lunches, there are no breakfasts, only tea, coffee, and you have to sit for 4 hours. And people, were giving a patient hearing. So this was there. And finally, I'm very proud to share that I had the opportunity to do, few programs for our own CFA society. Srinivas Kunte, has been very kind to give me this opportunity. We started this Jan Nivesh Abhiyan with the first campaign at Khopoli for very low income workers. And these were 300 people you can see on the right hand side. This was the first pilot project we started from Lonavala, Khopoli in Mumbai. And then the final thing was at culminated in Indore with more than 2,000 people you can see in the stadium. Okay. So I was fortunate to be part of this event. So you could see that, this has been our core forte actually. I enjoy doing this. And I have done seminars for 4 people also, and for 400 people and 500 people also. So it's a passion for me. And many of you might think that, does this really work? Many people come to these kind of seminars, but they don't really come back to you. Guys, you cannot see instant results from these kind of events. You have to have a lot of patience. We have seen clients coming after 5 months, client coming after 5 years. Sometimes people call you after 5 years and say, sir, we attended your program 5 years back. We really inspired. Somehow I couldn't start, but now I want to get associated. So I remember in 2011, 2 young ladies attended our program. They were convinced. They went back home. They told this story to their father-in-law, her husband, brother-in-law. And, look how this grid started expanding. So over a period of time, this family started becoming a client, and they started giving referrals to many other people. And today, that entire one relationship, the 2 ladies attending our program, is worth 18 crores for us. The revenues from the various people who are now associated. That is the power of these kind of things. It works in long term. So my suggestion to you is that whatever you do, friends, be consistent with your strategy. Okay. Today you have plenty of options. I've given you many options. You should be very good in doing that. You should believe in that particular model. Okay. Don't just take a machine gun and start firing all over, thinking that something would click. Okay. And first 2-3 years, don't expect anything. You have to be just consistent with your strategy without expecting any rewards. But after 3 years, 4 years, people will start noticing that, okay, this guy is very persistent. He's sending out very quality stuff. And then, you will start getting clients from these conversations. Okay. So, and in one of these, and I'm coming back to my first point, that are you passionate about this? So when I started this business, wealth management, there was one day, my dream was there that, I should be the largest client of my firm. Because if you are in the business of wealth management and you have not built wealth for yourself in the right way, you have told the biggest lie in the world. Okay. Suppose you're going to a gym and you meet your instructor. If that instructor is not a six pack himself, or then you won't pay the gym 50,000 rupees and become the member, right? So you have to demonstrate that by yourself. And my dream was that, can I be the largest client of my firm? And this idea came from seeing this board which I saw at one of the restaurants in Mumbai, Rama Naik's Udupi restaurant at Matunga. I'm sure many of you would have been there. There the board is written, the owner of this restaurant also eats here. So you can imagine the kind of confidence you would have when you get into the restaurant and the owner is serving himself to you. So that gives you a lot of confidence. So I believe in walking the talk in our profession. And 10 back, I again read this quote from Swami Vivekananda, wherein he said that take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, and let the brain, muscles, everything be part of that idea. So since then, my one idea was that, can I be one idiot? Okay. For many of you, you don't know, this One Idiot is a movie, 30-minute movie available on YouTube. In that movie, that idiot is worth 100 crores. But in the society, he was called an idiot by all the people because they didn't know what was his real worth. The day everybody knew that he's worth 100 crores, they became very embarrassed. And then he invites them to his house and shared that how he became 100 crores. And I got inspired by him, and I says, tomorrow I want to inspire the entire world that I'm also that one idiot. So this is my identity. This is my visiting card. This is my philosophy. And this is my reverse of the card. I says, I'm an idiot. Follow me. So I would really encourage you to watch. This is this film, One Idiot. And I went to him and I says, look, one day I'll come to you with my portfolio of 100 crores. One day this and how do you become one idiot? One idiot is not very easy. So I had this 20-year game which I was playing. To become 100 crores, you have to start with 4 lakh rupees monthly SIP, and that has to be a step-up SIP, which means every year the SIP has to grow by 10%. For 20 years, you have to do this SIP, and at 15%, you would reach the 100 crores mark. It is very difficult, to do. I can tell you, okay. But I said I have to do it. There's no second thought about it. But in August 2010, when I wanted to start with this, I didn't have 4 lakh rupees to begin with. So I started with only 10,000 SIP. That was the only amount I had to begin with. And every year I kept on increasing my SIP. So in 2016 it was 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh, 6 lakhs. In fact, in March 2020, it should have been 7 lakhs. But I'm already way ahead of my own target. I'm already at 9 lakhs. And I keep on increasing as and when I feel I can go ahead. So this is how I believe in doing it myself. Okay. And in that movie, this boy ends up buying Rolls Royce, which is worth 8 crores. Of course, I don't have this kind of money to buy Rolls Royce, and I'm not a big fan of cars. But in that movie, if that boy could do it, and if you could buy a Rolls Royce by SIP, okay, then I thought, I also want to take this challenge, and someday I want to buy a Rolls Royce with my SIP money. And friends, if you can buy a Rolls Royce through SIP, then I think you can buy anything else in the world. You can buy anything. So to buy a Rolls Royce, 8 crore is the goal amount today. So this is the roadmap for Rolls Royce. But in 15 years time, Rolls Royce would cost 16 crores rupees. And to get 16 crores, you have to do 2 lakh rupees monthly SIP. Okay. 2 lakh monthly SIP for 15 years to get 16 crore mark and to buy Rolls Royce. So out of this 9 lakh SIP, which I'm doing, 2 lakhs goes for Rolls Royce. And I don't know if you observe one thing, and I don't have a car today, by the way. Okay. And it may sound very stupid if I tell that I live in Mumbai and I don't have a car. Okay. You may think, this is not true, but I don't have actually. And if you see this SIP, if I stop my SIP for 3 months, I can buy a Mercedes car today. But actually, if your eyes are on Rolls Royce, then you don't want to play with small things, right? That is why I tell my investors that, you have to stick to your goals. Okay. And one thing which I always believed is, which I told you, that in our industry, why, there is a lot of distrust, why a lot of people don't believe in our industry. And that is why every time we have to every 5-10 years we have big crisis. Is this wonderful quote by Nassim Nicholas Taleb when he says, never ask anyone for their opinion, forecast, or recommendation. Just ask them what they have or don't have in their portfolio. So to all my clients, I show my own portfolio in every meeting when I go them. I tell them this is what I have put in my money, and this is where I would invest your money as well. Either we'll swim together or we'll sink together. In this March fall, a lot of our clients' portfolio went down, but I can tell you one thing for sure: my own portfolio went down the maximum. Okay, it was almost like bleeding, but I was showing this to all my clients, and that gave them a lot of confidence, and that is why almost all of our clients are staying put. They're not intact. They're there. And just I'll take 2 more minutes and then we'll open up for Q&A. Again, this is some rules for the first meeting. Again, I try to do it very differently compared to most other sales people. They try to do. I don't believe in telling facts. I believe in telling stories, because clients buy your stories. Okay, they connect with your stories, and always involve the entire family when you are having discussion. Normally, don't think that only the husband is the decision maker. Sometimes the wife has also a lot of money. Demon proved it very well that women have a lot of cash. The Stri Dhan, which they don't discuss with the family members. Parents on their own may have a lot of funds which you may not know. So involve the entire family when you're having discussion. That's why you have a greater bonding with the entire family. Make great use of audio visuals. Okay, clients understand a picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say. So try to use a lot of audio, visual and stuff like that. Finally, you need to sell yourself before you sell products. Clients don't buy products from you; they buy your conviction. So this is very, very important. Explain things in a very simple way. Okay, our clients don't understand. You have to come down to their level. You have to express yourself in such a way that if you were to convince your grandmom who is 80 years old, you should be able to convince her, right? So that is why all my discussions happens in this setting. I normally use clients' television as my presentation mode. I carry my presentation. I show on a 15-inch television screen. Entire family is sitting there. Okay, anybody can ask question. Entire family gets involved, and it becomes a very different bond altogether. And again, the first meeting, I try to keep my meetings very different. I really believe in the courage to say no if I don't believe he's a good client. I tell my first meeting that 80% of my clients will not make money. Okay, because I'm not their only advisor. CNBC, WhatsApp, many other formats are available, and they are influenced by that also. Your money can go down as well. There's no assurance of returns. We tell our clients that we don't manage your money, we manage your behavior. Okay, buy right, sit tight. 99% of the time we will not be doing anything. So if you're hiring us, we don't expect that every month we'll be doing this or that. We will be very passive. Okay, we explain them our remuneration structure, how we make money, and in the first meeting, and also mail them everything for the records. We encourage them to ask many questions. So everything is very clear, and we tell them, take your time. You don't have to say yes or no to us right now. Even if you want to take 6 months, take this time, and we will. You only have to call back us. You won't expect any call back from us. So don't expect any sales call, product pitch from us. So that is how we believe in this thing. And at the other end, when the most of industry is trying to sell complex stuff, exotic PMSs, AIF, structured products, REITs, private funds, art funds, complex derivative strategies. Believe me, I am Warren Buffett camp. I don't, though, and we try to do this because we think we have done CFA. We have now got the license to go out and sell complicated stuff. Okay, not necessarily, guys. If that product is not good for the client, you should not be selling it at all. So we keep it very simple in our business. We just deal with few things, and we only deal with individual clients. Most of our clients should have only term insurance plan or health insurance plan, basically proper insurance coverage, and then simple stuff like liquid fund, simple debt fund, a hybrid fund, or diversified equity fund. Okay, so life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated, is what Confucius says. Finally, I would like to end my presentation with this wonderful slide for all those who are very serious about wealth management profession. This is a guy whom you can't afford to miss. If Warren Buffett is a equivalent to the investment management industry. If he's the guru of investment management industry, this guy is the guru of financial advisors. Nick Murray, I have a deep respect for him. He has written many books which are real treasures. He has a blog which is quite expensive to subscribe. It's called Nick Murray Interactive, but I would strongly encourage all serious guys to become a member of this blog and read all his books which are mentioned. Your conviction will go up tenfold. So thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing. I'm very sorry I've exceeded my time limit. Really apologize. Over to you, Kishorji, for Q&A.
Well, thank you so much for a very, very in-depth presentation on the whole business model and the way you have articulated how to go about not only building the business, sustaining the business, but at the same time keeping your ethics and integrity intact, and let that grow your business rather than you growing your business. So with that, we have a few questions pouring in from the audience, but before that, let me ask some of the few questions that I have curated, and I would like to put you in a corner, or if I can use the cliche, put you in a soup with the couple of opening questions that I have. So at one segment of your presentation towards the end, you mentioned that unless you are wealthy, it doesn't reflect on the client of your capability of managing their wealth, as an analogy of a gym instructor that you gave. So if I can pull a fast one on you in a humorous note, so what you are intending to say is this is not a business which poor guys can do, right? So poor guys like me cannot enter this business.
No, I don't mean that. Basically, I mean to say, see why today the entire investment industry respects Warren Buffett. Okay, he's the second richest man in the world because he has done that. He has been there, done that. And that is why every year 50,000 people flock to the stadium at Omaha to listen to him. So if you have proven yourself by doing this, you're walking the talk, then I think client will have far more credibility on you. And if in simple words, if I were to tell, Kishorji, and I'll give you Mumbai example. Suppose I live in a very rough suburb in Mumbai, and let me just kind of mention Virar, because Virar is like almost north point of Mumbai, this thing. And if I'm telling my clients that, one day I'll get you to live in South Mumbai in Malabar Hill or Breach Candy, but I'm myself living in Virar because I can't afford rent or I want to save cost, then I don't think client will be able to relate to it. Okay. This is what I mean.
Yeah, that was a fast one, as you know. So coming to some of the serious stuff, and again, one of the controversial questions, the intent here is to put you in a corner so that you can get all your brains working to answer this. So I find that there was some contradiction or contradictory stance in the way you open your presentation, and towards the end when you gave some examples of few successful distributors / advisors. So in your opening, you mentioned the world has moved to not a sales oriented. Telephone is out. It's all about trust. It's all about relationship. It's all about longevity. And on the other hand, you are giving examples of people whose whole business model is based on cold calling, 30 people calling and selling products. In the initial part, you said we don't sell any products, but the few examples that you gave were very, very focused towards just calling and selling. Whatever way. It was not at all in sync with your initial stance of creating a relationship and a trust model to generate the business. So what are your thoughts on this?
No, I think fantastic question. I think you have really, tried to put me in a corner for sure. So, basically I'm saying that I'm not comfortable with those models, the cold calling models. I'm very bad at it actually. In fact, when I attend any of these large events like CII events or even CFA society events, I am always there in the corner. I'm not very good with networking. I don't really mingle with many fellow chartered accountants to get business, which many people are good at, and there's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just that my style doesn't allow me to, I'm not a believer of asking referrals for my clients. But I'm not saying that doing cold calling is bad. Okay. This guy who is excelled at cold calling, he's been doing a fabulous job. He's not selling any wrong products. He's getting long-term business, for his clients. He's not like those Indore-based stockbrokers who is trying to give you a tip and trying to kind of, make money from you. So each person has its own advantage. It's just that I personally am not comfortable with these models, but that doesn't mean that these are not right way to do it.
So basically, horses for courses. The way your style is suitable,
Absolutely.
you need to approach that. It's not that this is the only approach or this is the approach that needs to be followed.
No, in fact, 90% of the wealth advisors believe in asking referrals. There are many books written on how to get referrals from clients, right? And there's nothing wrong with asking referrals from our clients. But I personally don't believe in this model. As I said, I believe this business is like patient and doctors. You are a doctor. Doctor never asks his patients, "Ki kal mujhe 3 patient aur bhejna. Can you give me 3 more patients?" It sounds very odd. So same thing, I don't believe in asking. If my service is very good, if my clients are very convinced with me, let them give referrals to me automatically. Is what I believe.
Sure. Now, another aspect is a lot of things that you have articulated in your whole last 45 to 50 minutes of speech. A few things that hit in the head is that a lot of things that you said is very easy for people to do once you are established. But people who are budding newcomers or are at the starting age of the business, let's say it's only 2 to 3 years, a lot of things that you have highlighted or the whole model that you have followed may not bear any results for them, or it may not be even possible for them to execute. For example, being known, as you said. Now, no one is going to invite these guys to speak in a big forum. You're talking about TV media. No one is going to invite them to talk on the TV. No one is going to invite them to address to a 400 audience. So is it a lot of things are chicken and egg situation where only it happens once you are successful?
I don't really agree. Kishorji, I never started my career with 400 people audience, because nobody would invite me as well, right? I remember doing a seminar at 12 o'clock midnight for 4 doctors. Can you imagine? At 12 o'clock midnight, one of my client who was a doctor invited 4 his other doctors into his clinic. We started the seminar at 12 o'clock at night because doctors usually get free after 10:30, 11 o'clock. And the seminar went till 2:30 in the night. Okay. And I used to live in Andheri. I traveled to Ghatkopar, did this seminar, came back at 3 o'clock in the morning. So in the initial, you have to do all these things. Over a period of time, this will bring confidence into you. 4 will become 40, 40 will then become 400, right? If from day one we think that Mr. Muthu, when he started Twitter, for good 2-3 years, there were hardly 100, 200 followers. But then he kept on doing his work because he believed in that. And today, no wonder he's having like more than 1,70,000 subscribers. So first 5 years, don't expect anything, Kishorji. In whatever you're doing, it will take time. Is all what I want to say.
So essentially, again, the question goes back to the same basic first point, that unless you have a 3 to 4 year buffer to sustain yourself, it is very difficult to get into this business and build a business for yourself.
You should not be getting into it at all. If you don't have 5 years of your reserves, okay, cash flows, don't even get into this. And more important than this, Kishorji, I again go back to my first point. If you believe in it, then only you'll be successful. But if you're doing as a second option, career option, that, I'm not happy with this job, so let me get into it, then I really don't know whether you'll be successful in the long term as well.
Okay, one last from my side, and then I will try to curate the audience's question and club them if I have not been able to address those in my opening questions. So you mentioned that you like to give 4 or 5 meetings before you want things to start, so that the trust and the sync and the synergies and the mental connection and the emotional connection all gets linked, and the trust starts building and starts flowing in terms of business as well. Now, for most of the people, getting the first meeting itself is very difficult, the foot in the door. And even if one gets the first meeting, you never know whether you will get a follow-up meeting or not. So it's very easier said than done. So how does it work out that you not only are able to get the first meeting and then the follow-up meeting and then the follow-up and then the follow-up?
So I think, again, it's not that I was very good with it from day one. You have over a period of time improved the skill. Okay. So I'm trying to do things which 90% of people won't do. So as I said, most sales people, and I use the word sales people, would in the first meeting go with a standard presentation, try to sell something, and they usually like to talk in the language ki sir iska last date kal hai, kal khatam ho raha hai, this is like god sent opportunity. They would always try to close that sale. मैं उल्टा बोलता हूँ, मैं बोलता हूँ कि take your time, don't be in a hurry, okay? And if that client was interested in putting 10 lakhs, I would say sir abhi 5 lakh hi dalo, agar aapko confidence aata tab aap baad mein dalna. So when he hears all these things na, he thinks that this guy is very different, because everybody else is trying to call me and he is saying ki think and do it. And as I told you, we believe in comprehensive financial planning unless we have got all the data of our clients, okay? I don't know whether this product is good for him or not, so I have to know in the past if he has been an all FD investor and I'm now asking him to put into a mid-cap fund or a small fund. That's not right. First, I have to understand his background. So I tell him, sir, pehle you give me all the information, what you've done and what you're expecting from our relationship. Then perhaps we can talk further. So, and this conversation usually takes 2 to 3 meetings, 4 meetings. And after the 4 meetings, only when you have got all the information, when you put into a plan, then you go and tell him, okay, this is how you can start investing, your investments going forward. So that is why this plays a role.
A very interesting observation that I I'm lost for the right word actually. I mean, it was very different sort of a feeling while hearing you, whereby you never ever talked about any investment approach or skill at all in this whole way you approach business. When we say it is a wealth management business, but there is no talk on the investment strategy or the risk profiling or the asset allocation or how you do manager selection or allocation or portfolio construction. So it is all about that at the end of the day. But in your approach, that does not come out at all. And you are one of the most successful person that I know of in the wealth management industry. So this is a very big disconnect in my personal mind as well, as to how it happens without putting forth or talking about the core of the subject matter and not talking about that at all.
Again, okay, I can answer this. To me, it's very simple because as I told, the whole world actually speaks about themselves that, look, we have this 10 people research team. We have these, Bloomberg softwares installed in our office. We have access to all this amazing data. I'm a CFA charter holder. That's why you should hire me as your advisor. But nobody's talking about clients' lives, Kishorji. Nobody's talking about his goals. Nobody's talking about what he wants. Nobody's talking about his pain points. Nobody is talking about his feelings. Okay. And in the first meeting, when I go, I would only like to ask what he wants, what he's expecting from this meeting, why he has called me in the first place. Is he not happy with his existing advisor? What are the missing things in his thing? Okay. So I talk about myself in the first meeting at all. In the first, second meeting, I only talk about what orientation we have, which is what I shared in my second slide, that we are not here to sell products. Your returns, your money can go down also, I cannot give you guaranteed 15% returns. So, what I cannot do, I like to talk about that in the first meeting. So somehow I believe that goals and everything is more important than your technical capabilities to generate alpha and stuff like that. And that is how I believe clients are able to connect with me. Because I think most other people like bankers or other people, they try to sell, sir, हमारे पास हम जो आपको funds देंगे वो 5-star funds हैं, best funds हैं industry में, हमने past में ये returns generate किया. They all talk about returns. I don't think clients really connect with them as much.
Is it not different about between the two approaches of highlighting and selling a product based on past returns or promising returns and overall investment skill strategy? Don't you think these two are very different from each other?
That is there. So that is anyway captured in our financial planning. So when I say, Kishorji, we do financial planning, we take all the data of clients, we take his entire history, his family background, what he has done, his risk profile, and his asset allocation. Then we make an investment policy statement that based on his given goals, his risk profile, this is the right approach for him. So all these things come, but they come at a later stage, not in the first meeting or second meeting, is what I wanted to say.
So the whole idea is you to be able to get the eyeball of the client for a sustained period of time. Otherwise, this does not work.
Exactly. Precisely.
And to do that, what is the skill required? Because that is not in your control, in your hand.
No, so, you will be surprised to know many times we have started first meeting in January 1, and the fifth meeting has happened in September of that year, like after 9 months, and we got the first check after 9 months actually. But we are fine because we have so much funnel. I mean, like we are at any point of time, we are dealing with 50 different prospects or clients that, even if it takes time, it doesn't really matter to us. We are not
But
in a
then
hurry to
again,
close it.
again, the question goes back to the same, that once you are established with the scale of business that you have, it is very easy to say and do.
I agree. I mean, I agree. So for that, you'll have to give time. As I told you, it will take time for trust to get established.
So again, you are highlighting the pain point that I harbor in my heart, that it is not for poor people like me to do this
It's
business.
it is for the patient people actually.
So I'll just go through the audience questions that have come in. So some very, very interesting and humorous questions as well. So again, some of the questions relate to the investment process as to how you do go about scheme selection, asset allocation, what is your, so though you don't discuss that with clients in detail, as you said, the whole approach that you follow is more of a relationship based, understanding them rather than pitching your investment policy, thought process and strategy. But
Correct.
at your end, there must be something, right?
It is something, but again,
So if you
I
can share
frankly,
it in a broad sense as to what is your thought process of asset allocation, how do you go about scheme selection or manager allocation in brief, in whatever way you can.
yeah, again, I would be very frank and very upfront out here, and to this audience, it may sound very, very controversial, also very basic naive. When I read Nick Murray's books, Kishorji, I've realized one thing. He says scheme selection is only 5% of the job. Okay, which fund manager to select, which not to select, is only 5% in the entire scheme of things. It is more about asset allocation. It is more about the duration of the goal and stuff like that. And as I said, I normally am very simple with fund selection. I normally go with just diversified equity funds. I don't go with too much in mid cap and small cap for my clients, or sectoral funds or international funds and stuff like that. Plain vanilla diversified equity funds, which has a long-term track record. If the fund manager has been managing for 10, 15, 20 years, and if in a way he's been consistent, not, 5-star, not 2-star over a long period, even if he has given average returns, able to beat benchmark by 1-2%, I'm okay with that, because I'm a very buy and hold investor. When I invest in funds, I don't really take out less than 3, 5, 7, 10 years, So that is why I try to keep things simple. My main energy doesn't go into fund selection. My main energy is basically into handling clients' behavior. And as I told you, that it is not about investments. Clients' investment is about managing their behavior, which is far more important than anything else. So in this times,
As far as
in this
your
case,
approach is concerned,
in these trying times,
yeah,
when
please
markets fell
continue.
by 35%, in fact, all funds went down by 35-40%, right? So it was not about the funds. This time is more crucial to handle your clients' behavior. When clients want to exit markets right now, how do you convince them to stay put? Okay, this is far more important than, sir, ye fund ne 32% gira, ye fund 35% gira, so this fund is good or this fund is not good. Sometimes, for the trees, we miss out the forest, actually, is what I wanted to say.
One other aspect I would like your thoughts on is, one is the structural part of the whole business and one is the tactical part. So the initial 10 pointers that you laid out very well emphasizes on the structural approach to how you can develop this business based on your ethics, your relationship capability, the trust factors, the understanding of the client, etc., which will pay rewards over the long term. And as you had rightly pointed out, it's all about longevity of the assets. So that is the structural pointers that you have laid down. Now, in these kind of a situation which we are going through currently, it's a very, very specific situation. A very tactical approach may also be required to address this situation, because at the end of the day, whatever we say and do in terms of highlighting the approach, being very ethical, those all are only understood when the things are going satisfactory. May not be going great guns, but at least as a medium satisfactory. But in times of these black swan events, which even though you might have communicated that your portfolio might fall by 30% on any given day or any period, it is heard but not understood and not experienced. So in these times when that happens, just the structural framework that you have put in place in the beginning of the meeting, whereby you have established the expectation of the client, may not hold true, and a lot of tactical ammunition may be required in these kind of testing times. So your thoughts and your approach on this aspect?
Yeah. So when wonderful question again, I would say, so when March 23rd, markets fell by more than 10%, 13%. That day, Sensex was down 4,000 points. Next day, I sent out a note to all my investors, and I sent out snapshot of my portfolio that my 10-year CAGR of my funds today is showing -7%. Okay. Normally, you tell that in 10 years, you will not make any losses. You will get good returns, 12, 15%. But my 10-year portfolio, Kishorji, my family's portfolio was showing -7%. And that snapshot I sent out to my clients. And I told them, look, I'm not at all worried. I'm not at all sad. In fact, in the month of March, I put in my own family's money of around 75 lakhs. Okay. Normally, this money was for my company's reserves. We keep this kind of liquidity for any unfortunate seen events. But I felt like you, this was a great time to buy. First, I bought for myself, and then I sent out the note saying that to my clients that, look, investors, I have bought for my own portfolio, even though I'm down so much in red, but I believe these are fantastic times. Tough times don't last, tough people do. So make the most use of opportunity. If you have money, I would recommend you to also invest. Believe me, Kishorji, in last 15, 20 days, when all these market volatility, we have done 2,000 transactions, 2,000 purchase or switch transactions from liquid fund to equity funds. It was only possible because I was trying to lead by example. I was putting my own money first and then encouraging my clients. So this was a tactical call which you took, in these situations. So yeah, clients believe you when they see you doing it. They trust you then.
Some business related questions. So someone who is new, what should be his uh, target business levels for the next few years? First year, second year, third year. So one of the attendees has asked what should be the target AUM the first year or second year or third year, and I think it's a very relevant question for a lot of people who are not as established as you, but more new, maybe 2-3 years in the business, or maybe started afresh. So though you have been very categorical in stating that in the initial 3 to 4 years one should not be thinking about numbers at all, but still, I mean, roti to khana hi padega na.
So, again, this question may have different answers based on which city you are in and which area and stuff like that. Because in Mumbai, even, in first year, it's very easy to get 50 crores. It can be possible to get 25, 50 crores in 1-2 years, but in a small town, it may not be possible. But again, as I said, more than numbers, more than the AUM, what you should be looking at is the number of people you are able to meet, that should be the more target that you should target, that in a week, if I can meet at least 5 new people, stuff like that. Because see, numbers will automatically come, the more people you meet, numbers will automatically get into place. But I've never been a good number person. I've never had MISs, targets in my head for my team or my team members, for myself, कि मुझे इस साल इतना करना है, मुझे इस साल इतना आगे बढ़ना है. I always believed in meet people, explain my philosophy, and then business will come. So that is what I believe in. I mean, it took us 5 years to build 100 crores, Kishorji. In fact, we were working very hard in the first 5 years. Saturdays, Sundays, we were working like 12, 13, 14 hours. And you remember, I didn't take a holiday for good 6 years. First 6 years, I never took a holiday. And then in the last 5 years, that 100 has become 700 crores, automatically. I mean, I feel I've worked half of what I was working initially. So this is a power of compounding business. This game is all about power of compounding. In the initial years, don't worry about numbers. Just go and do your work. I mean, this is like cricket analogy. I would like to give. If you want to score century in cricket match, Kishorji, you have to be on the pitch. Just look at the ball, concentrate on the ball. Runs will automatically come by. Is all I can tell you.
So your last part has answered a plethora of questions that have come from the attendees as to how you grew your AUM, what is your current AUM, how was it built up over the period. So in this one response, I think a lot of questions regarding the whole business progression as far as you are concerned has been addressed. One interesting aspect is, since you are very what do I call it? Not very inclined towards complex or the so-called sophisticated products like the AIFs and the quantitative strategies, the long shorts and the alpha creators and the diversifier creators, pun intended, obviously. So, so a lot of people are asking that there are family offices and wealthy clients who will not be just satisfied with plain vanilla approach and may be wanting these kind of glamour in their portfolio as well. So glamour word I have chosen, none of the attendees have highlighted. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so again, it is our belief that clients want these actually. मेरा सिर्फ आपसे एक ही सवाल है, ये clients को ये सारे products के बारे में बताया किसने है? ये हम ही लोगों ने बताया है। हम में से किसी ने जाके बताया सर ये एक नया प्रोडक्ट आया है, इसमें ये चीज है वो चीज है, क्लाइंट ने शायद समझा भी नहीं होगा। और हम लोग ये लास्ट में बहुत अच्छा लाइन इसमें डाल देते हैं, सर ये प्रोडक्ट बहुत लिमिटेड लोगों के लिए है, मिनिमम टिकट साइज इज 1 crore, AIF ओनली सेलेक्टेड पीपल कैन गो फॉर दिस। And these sounds very good in parties, these become a good glamorous talks, as you use the word. Frankly speaking, उसमें रिटर्न कितना आता है कितना नहीं आता है, क्लाइंट पैसा बनाता है नहीं बनाता है, वो कोई चीज नहीं देखता है, क्योंकि वो 10-10 साल का लॉक इन है, 10 साल में तो किसी को पता भी नहीं कि क्या होगा, right? So somehow I don't believe in this. As I told you, I again go back to Warren Buffett. He says I invest in things which I understand, things which are simple. For me, liquidity is very important. Okay, so I would like to invest in only those products which are very liquid, very transparent. Client can see what is the value. Clients can understand very easily. Okay, and if I have to explain it to my 8-year-old daughter also, I should be able to explain it to her. And by doing this, if my last, just before COVID-19, my 10-year CAGR, before this was 15%. Okay, and now it has fallen. Now it has fallen because of this crash. So I think if simple products can give you 15%, I think what's the harm? I mean, clients are happy getting 10-12%. They are really not bothered about 18% or 20%, is what I want to say.
So maybe other way to phrase is that you don't need to do business of all the clients in the country. Would that be a right statement?
Exactly the point. Absolutely. You need just good 200 or 500 clients to build your business case.
Another very, very sensitive area in the current times and the way the regulations have evolved are the dwindling remuneration rates and plethora and popularity of direct plans and so many research portals and free advising about the mutual fund schemes and the ratings of so and so schemes. So most of the big clients may go for direct plans by themselves. So how do you kind of tackle that situation?
Again, very good question. Again, I go back to Nick Murray book. Nick Murray in his book said, and this, to all the people who are now listening may sound very controversial and very untrue, I would say rather. Nick Murray in his book has mentioned that 99% of the people in this world require an advisor. Okay. You may be the best of guy, you may be a geek in finance, but you still require an advisor. Because as Morgan Housel also once said, investing is not the study of finance. It is not the study of numbers. It is what happens in your head when you try to do it. So when markets fell by 30%, what happens in your head is more important than which scheme you've taken. And the very fact that Kishorji, today 2 of the industry CEOs, okay, the mutual fund CEOs are our clients. Can explain you that they know everything about mutual funds, they know everything about products, they know everything about cost. I can't explain them better than themselves. They know, and they have 25 years of experience. I'm Ahmedabad pass out, but they still chose to have an advisor. The fact, because they said I may be very biased in my views. Okay, I may be very busy in my daily profession. I may not give enough time to money, so that's why I want to hire you. You can guide me, along a plan. So the fact that, in fact, I would like to go ahead and say,
every advisor needs another advisor, because as an advisor, we also may be very biased with our own money. So if you have a second level of advisor who can guide us that, you're not doing this right, can be very fruitful. So I don't agree with this statement that, many big guys can go directly themselves, can choose a plan. It's not about choosing A fund or B fund, Kishorji. I told you that this is only 5% of the job. It is basically about when your 100 is minus, has become 70 rupees now. What happens in your stomach, not in your head, what happens in your stomach is more important. And that is when you require an advisor to handhold you in these times and help you able to sail you safely.
I think we have covered almost everything that the attendees have asked for, and whatever questions that I had in mind. Whatever questions now I have would be very, very investment oriented. So I will leave that for our one-to-one tete-a-tete rather than the forum. But one thing that you have given me light at the tunnel kind of a vision is that now I can come to pitch for your business, because the advisor may need another advisor.
Of course, yes.
So with that, I would like to thank you on behalf of the CFA Society for taking out time and addressing our members and the CFA fraternity candidates and the level 3 pass outs and the other guests that might have that may have been attending this webinar. And thank you all the attendees for taking your own time, and we hope that it was quite fruitful and enriching and insightful to get insights from one of the most successful wealth managers of our times. Just one more reiteration of the fact to all the attendees to take the survey. The survey link has been just posted on the chat window for all of you, and so has been the presentation link, which you can download, the presentation which Gajendra shared while talking about this whole strategy and approach of business. So with that, a very good evening, good day, and I wish everyone safe and sound stay and good health for the remaining part of the days and months that we have challenging times ahead of us. Be safe, be home, and be happy with your family. Use the time to enrich yourselves, improve your skills, and be happy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kishorji. The pleasure was mine.